Hey, Freedom Finders. I just wanted to say welcome to another episode of the Manifest Monday. Or you might be just watching this on YouTube channel, which I appreciate too. So if you're here with us, let's start as we usually do. We're moving into our week. Instead of chasing and grinding, we're going to move in with some attraction. So we start with gratitude. Take a deep breath in and release. And I want you to go back to somewhere during your week or weekend that gave you that feeling of love, joy, gratitude, appreciation, and just really feel into that. Feel into that moment, that memory that reminded you of why you're here. If it's a family member, something that happened, maybe it's something you accomplished. What is that feeling for you? So we start there because gratitude is the opening to the portal to having everything that we truly desire, because we are also realizing we already have so much more than we think we do. So when we move into that gratitude, we then can move into our alignment questions. Also, if you have something to release today, let that go. Let that go by, you don't just think of these things too, with what you're grateful for or something you want to release. Things are not real until we voice them, we give them voice. So we say it out loud, we write it into a journal, we type it into the chat. What's something that gave you that love, joy, or gratitude this past week or weekend? Or what's one thing that you just want to release and get rid of out of your body? A lot of the people in our community are going through different things. There's a lot of grief happening. There's some feelings also of like friends and family members with stuff that is like betrayal that's happened. So whatever it is, bring it to the surface. Know that you're safe. Breathe into it and then let it all go. Let it all go. There's a physiological response. It's called a somatic release. And the funny part is the brain wants to say, oh, we look funny. Oh, we sound funny. We can't do that out in public. And yet this is exactly how all of our ancestors got rid of energy that was just too much to hold or wasn't theirs anymore. So let it all out. Doesn't matter where you are, in neuroscience, wherever you are, take a deep breath in. And let it go. You want to do it, my favorite yogi, Brian. He lets out a big fuck. Whatever works and gets you a smile on your face. It's the beginning of the new response, the new you this week. While you move into this gratitude, and before we go into their alignment questions, the topic that came to my mind for me, so last week I got a chance to have two amazing walks with two amazing men and community members. And then I got to record a really, really cool podcast with a very close friend of mine, who's also her birthday. But there was a common theme with all three of these folks. And it was so interesting because I obviously shared this exact struggle and challenge. But some of them were looking for their authentic voice. And the others knew what their authentic voice was, but they were afraid to share it. And it got me really thinking into the power of fear and what that power holds over us at every single time, right? Every single moment. Like our whole life is really filled, right, with all the programs that we've programmed for ourselves, that we've asked our mind to do to keep us safe, to keep us from feeling hurt, or to keep us from feeling abandoned, or to keep us belonging, to keep us achieving, to keep money in the bank accounts, to keep, right, all of the things. And so the mind has all these stories and programs and beliefs, and most all of that, it is fear-based, right? It's like, I am afraid of feeling that again. Or I'm afraid of being taken again. Or I'm afraid of being judged. I'm afraid of being rejected. So just for a moment, right? Like, bring in some of those fears, knowing that you're safe, knowing that it's just you listening to my voice. Bring in one of those fears for you. What's the biggest fear right now that's coming in for you? And you'll notice, as you bring in this fear, you'll notice there's a tightness in your body. There's maybe something in your stomach, maybe an upset stomach a little bit, or some of us have tension in our neck and our shoulders. Some of us, I have this weird stripe thing that actually happens. It goes right across my scalp, and it's really interesting. But like, this is all where something has been trapped in our body from a young age, and it gets stored somewhere in the body. This trapped emotion, this emotion we were not safe to feel as a young child or as a teenager. It gets stuck in our body. And the cool part is, as we get older and we start to become more confident in ourselves, we start to feel safer in our own bodies. Now, with that confidence, we get to go back and allow those parts of us to feel those feelings that were not safe at the time. But we don't have to do any of that right now. For right now, you call to mind a fear. So just be there for a minute. Witness what happens in your body. Witness that tightness. For these three, and myself included, the people that I got the chance to hang out with this past week, their fear was a fear of sharing their authentic voice. I had this for a very, very long time. For those of you who knew me in real estate, I was finally overcoming my fear of public speaking, but I realized it wasn't even overcoming my fear of public speaking. I learned that I had a fear, a deep-seated fear of not being seen, not being heard, and being rejected. So the way I battled that, which was interesting, I used to go to 16 networking groups a month, but I would never have done that except I was invited once. I went to a few networking groups back in 2005 and absolutely hated it. And those who know me now, you probably think I'm an outright extrovert and that I get so much energy from people. But in truth, I enjoy speaking in front of groups. The moment you put me inside one, the moment you put me in a group with a lot of people in it, I want to get the hell out of there as fast as possible. So I was invited to speak once in 2009 or 8 over all the failures I had had in real estate because my first 5 deals went terribly, terribly wrong. Most of you know that story. And I'm like, you want me to speak about what? All these other people are national guys coming in here to like teach the next strategy, teach the next thing, showing people how to be successful. You want me to talk about the 5 deals that put me flat on my ass? Really? And I took them up on the opportunity. I think it was 2007, maybe 2006 or 7. Took them up on the opportunity to do so. And the world opened up. Couldn't believe it. Told everybody how my first 5 deals, I had like 4 went to short sale, 1 went to a foreclosure, bad partnership. There's a whole story around it where I trusted somebody I shouldn't have trusted. Doesn't matter. But with that came, at the end of that talk, I had 2 people come up and want me to teach them how to wholesale. I had another person come up and want to loan me money. It was the weirdest thing. The opposite happened. And I think that was such a beautiful lesson for me because that lesson of me being in front of the room, of me sharing authentically, showed me how powerful that can actually be. Showed me how powerful sharing the real stories and not just highlight reels. Showing the losses as well as the wins. Showing the struggles along with the solutions or the breakthroughs. That became a beginning for me to know what my authentic voice and my authentic self could be. So in that moment, with me overcoming that fear, I then knew, okay, if I could just be in front of the room and share those stories, that would be the best way to do it. And I learned to share my authentic voice over and over and over again in the field of real estate and business. And people started to know me, right? The comeback king, the guy who could keep getting all the mistakes, getting them out of the way, losing money, losing time, losing whatever it was. And I could come back from those mistakes where everybody else was preaching their biggest win, their biggest home run deal, their you can make all this money too. I was out there touting all of my learning lessons, my challenges. And that produced an awful lot of, I don't want to say followers, but a lot of people who respected that I could give that level of authenticity. But then I had my identity shift, which I've talked about now for a long time. You already know about that. But when I realized, when real estate became, I thought real estate was the enemy. It wasn't real estate. It was my huge massive burnout, me being tired of the identity that I had built, and all of a sudden feeling the huge weight of, the 29 W-2 employees and all of the agents and all of the contractors and all the 7 different vertically integrated companies that we had. All of a sudden I felt all this weight, and my authentic voice was no longer my authentic voice. Me teaching people how to make money in real estate or how to avoid mistakes in real estate no longer became my authentic voice. So then the question was, what was my new authentic voice? And I had a massive fear. This is what it's all coming to. A fear of knowing that I could teach people how to make money in real estate, but if they did not address the deep-seated fears from their childhood, maybe some traumas that they went through that programmed stories and beliefs in the mind. So they operated by these subconscious beliefs that they were operating by, but they couldn't be aware of them because they were so locked into their day-to-day, so locked into, I just need to make money and I'll be okay, or just locked into, I just need to be successful. So it became a new passion of mine to go into that, to go into the mind and the neuroscience. And my fear came true. The fear that if I pivoted from being a real estate guy and a finance guy and a business guy into coming into the world of authentic expression, of becoming aware of your stories and beliefs and traumas, of understanding that just by becoming aware and dismantling these beliefs one by one, we could live a more freer and unlimited life, that by me pivoting, I would lose momentum. I would lose all the people that had followed me for so many years for other reasons. But I did it anyway, because I was at the end of my rope, and I didn't want to live inauthentically anymore. These Manifest Monday calls are a result of me showing up every single week for myself. Even doing this recording right now, I have no idea if anyone will watch this recording. I have no idea if it'll be 1 person or 100 people, and I don't care, because these are for me now. I do these to witness my own transformation. And by me documenting my transformation, if I can help even 1 person, and that 1 person doesn't have to be external to myself, if I can help me reach the next version of me using my authentic voice, I'm going to do so. So to bring it back to what I was sharing at the beginning, I had all that happen, lost all my followers, lost, right? Could used to fill a room with 400 people looking to make money in real estate. And then, I had one big offer that fell flat on its face a year and a half ago, where I had not 1 person sign up for an offer called the Soul Purpose Retreat. And that was okay. So I did it again, and I had 3. Then I did it again, we had 9. And little by little, even these Manifest Monday calls, all of a sudden people were attracted, because I found my people. So these 3 individuals from last week, looking for their authentic voice or being afraid to share their authentic voice, I want whoever's hearing this right now to know there is such an opening that's available when you are no longer afraid of what can happen, when you're no longer afraid of rejection, no longer afraid of failure, no longer afraid of not being accepted, not being afraid of offending people. There is a level of opening that's available. And with one of them that I was on the walk with, I asked him, well, what would be the top 2 or 3 things that you'd want to share with the world? Knowing that he was just talking to me and he would be safe, I clicked my phone on record. And I recorded him for about 5.5 minutes, talking all about a really, really cool topic about the housing programs in Boston and with people who are against them and what's really happening and how they could create so much more affordable housing if they just did X, Y, and Z and looked at it this way. And really cool concepts, really cool theories. But he wouldn't share them. So I had another person that was so excited because he knows he wants to create more content, but he also wants to, he was so happy, finally, I finally am getting just the right piece of equipment. I set up in a corner of my room. It's just perfect for now. I got the new PC, I got the new microphone, I got the new everything. So I'm finally almost ready to start delivering content. And with that person, once again, you just click record on a phone. They don't have their hair done. They haven't brushed their teeth. They just go. Being your authentic self. Being your authentic self is radically freeing. It gives you an entirely new perspective on life when you realize you're going to attract your people either way. If you put on and boast about your biggest deals and your biggest cash flows and how to do this and that, you're going to get those people that follow you. And you can have those people, but why don't you also have the people that want and desire to live an authentic life, to share who they are authentically, to share their struggles and obstacles, to go through the next layer of themselves and constantly explore, constantly understand, and that's why I do what I do. Wow. Now that I know it's not external, I don't have to push that person away or scream at that person or be reactive in this Zoom meeting. Wait a minute, you mean I can just work on this for myself and I'm no longer reactive? I no longer feel these nasty feelings because I'm no longer afraid of exploring what it could be that I'm afraid of. So for those of you watching, I highly encourage. There's going to be people in your world that need to hear a message that you have to share. Whether you're doing that with voice behind a camera, if you're doing that in poetry, if you're doing it with drawings or artistry, if you're doing it with music, there's someone out there that needs to hear your voice, that desires that authenticity that AI cannot create. So with that, what if, just for the moment, just for this week, you can let that fear come in and then meet it with love. Thank you. Thank you for coming in, fear. That fear of rejection or fear of pissing someone off or fear of losing people in your audience, whatever it might be. Thank you for that message. I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you keeping me safe for all these years. And I also know that it takes moving into discomfort sometimes to attract and be an entirely different person, to have an entirely different, more free life. How can you be more authentic this week? What's one step you can take that can bring you to share your authentic voice with the world? Maybe it's a social media post, maybe it's a piece of art, maybe it's sending a letter of forgiveness to a family or friend. What's that one for you? So thank you for hanging out with me today, with dwelling or not dwelling, thinking through or feeling into that. Maybe you want to take a moment to journal, light a candle, put some music on. How can you share your authentic voice more freely this week? Maybe it's stand-up comedy for the person that I had on my podcast on Friday. Healing with humor. And with all that, we can now move into alignment. Let's move into our 3 alignment questions. Now that we have our gratitude and we feel that gratitude come into our bodies, we move into alignment by saying, what's one thing you can do to love yourself more today? Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's a walk on the beach. Maybe it's going to the gym, getting a massage. Once you have love for yourself, we take that love and expand it out to others. Who's one person you can choose to show up for today in a meaningful way? Spouse, a child, or the random stranger down the street with a random act of kindness. And lastly, third, this is my challenge to you. What's one step you can take today towards that which brings you the most excitement or passion in your life, and taking that step without having any attachment to an outcome? And my challenge would be, maybe that can be you finding an authentic voice in some way. Thank you all for joining me. If you're still with me, we'll start our week with just a couple affirmations and a brief meditation. So let's close down our eyes, close them down. Let's end with a deep breath in and release. As we move into this week of divinity, of creation, of love, of opportunity, we move into this week with grace, with flow, with ease. We move into this week with curiosity about how we operate, why we are here, and what we intend to do. Why we're human beings and not human doings. Being with the flow of life instead of grinding and chasing it. Being with whatever comes in, knowing that if we're in alignment, everything we could possibly need comes to us freely, openly, from all angles. Feeling that abundance, feeling that breeze on our skin, the sun on our face, feeling the soft fur of our beloved pet, feeling the pillow underneath our heads. We already have everything we need. We've already done everything that needed to be done. We are exactly where we need to be. There's no rushing any of this. Every decision that you've ever made has been exactly the right decision at the right moment for where you were in that moment. Breathing into that, knowing that you can't do this wrong. Breathing into knowing that you are a creator and you get to choose who you are moment by moment in this life. Just take that last rich, deep breath in and let it go. And go start your week with power, with love, opportunity, and grace. And I would love, love, love. You can join me every Monday, 9 to 9:30 EST for Manifest Monday Mindset and Magic. We also have a Signal group, which you can jump in. It's completely free. Come on in and help share wins, share struggles. We're all here in our pursuit of pure ultimate freedoms together. Much love. See you next week.